Welcome to this video on Williams R indicator. This is by request. So any of you who do have requests for videos in the future or topics, feel free to leave them in comments below. This is a result of one of those comments. So the Williams R indicator, or sometimes called Williams percent R, or the Williams R percentage, is an indicator that was developed by Larry Williams, famous trader. And it is really the inverse of the fast stochastic oscillator. So the stochastic oscillator reflects the level of the close relative to the lowest low, whatever look-back periods you have. So in this example, we have 14 look-back periods, which essentially means 14 bars. Let me highlight that for you there. So whatever time frame you're looking at, if it's a daily chart such as this is, then there will be 14 days. If it's minute bars, then it'd be 14 minutes. So when we're talking about periods, we're talking about bars. Now, the Williams percent R, it's also a momentum indicator, commonly referred to, and it is looking for the level of the close relative to the highest high of the look-back period, as opposed to relative to the lowest low, such as the fast stochastic. So therefore, it corrects or manages this inversion by, well, multiplying the value by -100. So as you'll see, and this is kind of counterintuitive to some people, so you've got 0, here would be the high level, and the low level is -100. Okay, but if you put a fast stochastic on here, the pattern will look exactly the same. Okay, now how to trade this puppy dog. So here are some of the misconceptions. One of the misconceptions, at least in my mind, is that when you get, and the common levels are these, 80 would be considered overbought, 20 would be oversold. Again, different people use different levels. Some will use 25 and 75. Some even use 30 and 70, whatever you choose. Still, overbought, oversold. In my mind, these things are not as reliable as just that. So, and for example, you can see, let's pull that off here so I can move my chart around a little bit. So you can see that we get into, well, the so-called overbought zone here, but does the market really go down? I mean, that's what you would expect. That's what's implied by the term overbought, that it's going to come down. But actually, no, it goes up and makes a higher high. And you can see this in a lot of different places. So we can still use this concept, but we're going to have to make some adjustments. Here are some more examples as we move forward now. So in channeling kind of situations, the overbought, oversold will serve you a little better. But in trending situations, not so much. So for example, here we get to an so-called overbought level. And let's see, that comes in around there. But as you can tell, the market continues to go up, 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 up. And of course, the indicator does stay up here. Now, it does not stay in the overbought zone. So that's one thing that makes it a little tricky, because some people will say, well, when it breaks out of the overbought zone, that's when you should sell. Others will use the 50 line. So again, if you use other lines such as 25, well, I've got 20 and 80 here, but if you use 25 and 75, or even down to 30 and 70, then it's more likely to stay in those zones, if you will, and that's why some people use them. Some people actually will use the 50 level, and it's kind of the same concept, acknowledging that, hey, this can stay up here for a long time. So they'll say, alrighty, well, what I'm going to do is I will wait for it to get above 50. As long as it stays above 50, we're bullish. When it gets down below 50, and as long as we stay below 50, then we're bearish. Okay, you can see that serves you a little better. Now, it's not going to necessarily work as well. There's always a give and take, right? It's not always going to work as well for exits, because if you wait for it to come back down below 50, then you're giving more money back. So there's always a give and take on any strategy. The more conservative, the more aggressive, there's give and takes. Okay. So how can we use this? Well, let's go back here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put support resistance levels on price because I feel that's actually very, very important whenever using any indicator. Support resistance levels are always very important. So let me bring those up for you right now. Okay, so in my mind, the best way to use any type of oscillator, including this one, is to use it in conjunction with support resistance. And the support resistance we're using here today is simply off of major swing highs and lows from the past. The market does look at these very much, and so they do have a self-fulfilling prophecy to them. So, for example, we see that, all right, we'll put in a low here. We can, you know what, I'm going to change that color since we've already got blue on there. And let's change it to, what would be a different color that'll stand out? How about magenta? All right, and we'll make it a little thicker for you so it's a little obvious. Okay, so we put in this low here. And as we go forward, notice that, you know, here could be a so-called buy signal here where it gets below the so-called oversold zone. Not so good, didn't work out so great, right? But here it works out better. All right, so what do we have here that we could say, alrighty, why is this signal better than that one? Okay, there's a couple of things. Number one is the candlestick that you get. So we get, and I did a little series on this recently, and that was on the pin bars, so you might want to check that video out. In fact, I'll put a link to that in the description below, and that's on YouTube as well. So we got our pin bar pattern there, so that is a good candlestick pattern for a low. And then we've also got a little divergence here. See that divergence? Higher low on K, or not on K, but on Williams R, and lower low there. So we've got three things, and that's what we're always looking for in trading. We're looking for a preponderance of the evidence. Each one of these things is a piece of evidence. No one thing should be traded by itself. No one thing gives you a probability scenario. The number one variable does not give you a probability scenario. So we need more than one. And that's what we do. We put together pieces of evidence and wait for them to all align. So here we have three: support, a divergence, and a candlestick pattern. All right, so then we say, all right, well, that now is a pretty darn good signal, and indeed the market does go up. All right, what happens on the next low? Now up here, by the way, there's really no resistance shown. And so even though, well, again, we got an overbought signal here, not so bueno. Got an overbought signal there, a little more bueno, if that's a word. I don't think it is, but, well, we just made it up, so now it is. Okay, so what do we have down here now? And by the way, the reason I mention this is don't expect this indicator or any other indicator to give you every single swing in the market that you should trade. That's totally unrealistic, right? So we're just looking for some good opportunities, high probability opportunities, and the rest we just let go. Whatever. The market does all kinds of stuff. We're just looking for the high probability trades. So here, again, we've got our little divergence pattern. Actually, this one, whoops, going off the side here. This one's more of a convergence. It's not really a divergence. It's literally a convergence. But again, it comes in at a support level. And so we got that. So we'll say, okay, that. And then we've got our oversold zone. And so that has a higher probability of doing some damage. And indeed, this one works out pretty darn well. All right. Now, oh, we're almost out of time. So let's go forward here and let's just look at one more example real quick. And what do we got? Okay, so then we've got resistance becomes support. Again, if you look at this one here, not so good. Sure, we got below the oversold, came above the oversold. Wouldn't want to buy that. No, not a very good reward to risk ratio on that at all. Didn't quite make it down to support. This one does. And then what do we get? Again, we get our little divergence pattern. Okay, and whoops, there it is. Okay, so a couple of tips for you there today. Again, using a particular indicator here, but one of the main takeaways is to always look for multiple variables. Uncorrelated variables is the key term. Always look for uncorrelated variables to align to give yourself a statistical probability. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. The best thing you can do really is to share it. That I don't charge for these. I don't even run advertising in my videos. So these do not generate income for me. I do them for you. And so best thing you can do is to pay it forward to somebody else by sharing the video. Click the little share button below. Also, if you have any requests for future videos, like I say, this one is in response to a request. Feel free to type that in the comment level below too. I would be happy to entertain those. And finally, I'm actually giving away one of my courses for free. So if you would like that, it includes my rubber band trade strategy. Now that one is a longer video where I have time to give you all the details. In other words, all the variables that I look for, where I get in, where I get out, all that stuff, all the details are there as part of a little mini course of 5 videos that I put together for you. And take that trade, demo test it, and I think you'll like it. I take it pretty much every day. I took it just again today and made really good money with it. So it's a current trade that's working in today's market called the rubber band trade. Just click the green box up there in the right hand corner of the video and you will go to another page where you can request the free course, and I'll be happy to send that to you immediately.